Money. Money, 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 money. Now, whether you think it's good or you think it's bad, we have an obsession with wealth. Now, I run a multi-purpose, interdisciplinary entrepreneurship and innovation program for students here. And I think some of them are here today. And these students come from the arts, from our business school, from our science and technology areas, to those studying the most difficult social justice problems in front of us. Now, our vision is that we put these amazing students into the same room, teach them how to be entrepreneurial and innovative, and together they will move forward to seize the opportunities of tomorrow and collectively address the intractable challenges in our future. Now, you can imagine what happens when I address each of these different folks in this very diverse room with the question, is money good or is money bad? Arms shoot up, sides are taken, battle lines are drawn. And this is completely predictable. And I think unfortunate. Because isn't it kind of strange that these students, these amazing people are going to be the change makers of tomorrow. We feed forward a paradigm of how we think about wealth in this country and in this world that makes them put their fists up. And what we have is this competing idea of either we should be focusing on monetary wealth or we should be focusing on social health. So, as a professor, I started wondering about this concept. I'm saying, gosh, couldn't this be different? And now, of course, as a professor, it takes me quite some time to actually get to a simple, straightforward answer on anything. And so for years, I pondered this. And it finally dawned on me, what if instead of thinking wealth or social health, we thought about wealth? So over here, you've got a focus on monetary wealth. Let's talk about an extreme focus on monetary wealth. And down here, you've got an extreme focus on society, saying these are the purposes of what we should be all about. Now, up here, down in the left-hand corner where you got no focus, you got a very sad, sad face. But those with a focus on monetary wealth, we say that they have a wealth mindset. And down in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got a hyper-focus on society, and we can say that they have a social health mindset. And these two have been doing battle for years, centuries. And you know what? We got to first give a little credit to this because this system's actually done some good for the world, right? Back and forth we go, and somehow we've gotten to the place we are today. But the question really is this adequate to address what's coming down the road? And so maybe instead of thinking about wealth mindsets or social health mindsets, we start to go, let's think about something different, next level, and shatter this idea and go to a wealth mindset. So let's run a little bit of water through these pipes and check this out. So over here, we have the traditional monetary wealth mindset. And in the traditional monetary wealth mindsets, we have a hyper-focus on money and we have a hyper-focus on me. I've got to get what's mine. And of course, I think we all have to at least have a reasonable agreement on the fact that this is the dominant paradigm of today. And that hyper-focus on me leads to the need for an organizational technology of competition. We must have competition because if I'm going to get what I need and I want over you, I have to have a way to compete. And the best thing that comes out at the end of the pipe is a sympathy mindset, is sympathy, and something that we can pretty much think of as a customer-oriented sympathy. If I help the customer, then the customer will eventually give me what I need, and then I win. Now, this is opposed to the idea of a social health mindset. A social health mindset, in contrast, says, no, it's not about me, it's about them. I've got to focus on them. And what I need to be able to focus on them is an organizational technology that redistributes from that far column to them. We got to take it away from these folks and give it to them, whether it be through charity or whatever it might be, or through the government. There's lots of different mechanisms. And this also, interestingly, leads to sympathy. I feel bad for them. They're not being treated fairly, so we need to redistribute. And these two have been warring sisters for a long time. They've been working together back and forth, left and right, for many, many years, and it's usually what we know. Now, many of you, I would imagine, have deep experience in one or both of these columns. Well, I certainly do. You know, when I was young, when my dad died, the grand inheritance his 4 kids got were $2, 3 guns, and a cat. And the cat drooled. We were poor. My mom, she was the master of the 5-dinner chicken. She had to spread 1 chicken out for 6 people, 5 meals. And later, talking to my sister, I found out the secret sauce to that was that Mom didn't eat meal 5. Now, when my dad died, I got to be honest, I was mad. I was mad for all sorts of reasons, but I was really mad to see a man that I love so much completely out of control because he had nothing left dealing with money. And so I vowed I would never be in that position. And so when I graduated college, I took jobs, I did work that said, I am going to get mine. And I competed. And I won. And as my bank account filled up, my soul drained out. And I remember the epiphany I had. I remember it's a single day. And I realized what was happening to me. I was completely out of balance. And so what I did was I said, okay, it's going to be something completely different. Quit my job, went and did something completely different. And I said, I'm going to have a hyper-focus on them. And for years, I focused on them. I served, I gave. And as you could predict, my soul started to heal. But what happened? My bank account emptied out. And so here I was, back and forth, left and right, the teeter-totter between these two extremes. And I said to myself, there's got to be something better. And that's where we get to this idea. Instead of saying it's got to be one or the other, how about we say our purpose should be both? And if we're going to say our purpose is going to be both, then what we need to do is say we instead of me or them. And if we are going to win, if we are going to both have wealth and social health, then we need a technology, an organizational technology of cooperation. And an organizational technology of cooperation leads to something very different at the end of the pipeline. It leads to empathy. So instead of 1 versus 1, we have 1 plus 1 is 1. Now, most people would say to me at this point, Art, that's great. That really sounds good. But we've been doing it like this forever. That's the way things are. Suck it up. Take it. Take your medicine. And as an entrepreneur, I love that because I get to say, ooh, we need a disruptive innovation. It's time for a disruptive innovation. Because it doesn't make any sense to any of you in here that we equip the people who are going to make the changes of tomorrow with technology that looks like this when we're in this sort of world. And so this talk is called Reimagining Wealth. Now you'll see that it says Reimagining Wealth. I am not the first person to have ever brought this message forward. But I am saying today here that it's time to reimagine once again and say, what could it look like going forward? And so that's where we're going to start to go, and we get back to this idea of disruptive innovation. Now, when you get to an innovation, wouldn't it be nice if this disruptive innovation that we want to bring in as our mainstream approach, or at least one of the mainstream approaches, actually was open source and free to everyone? And wouldn't it be amazing if it was proven that someone had been out there working out the kinks and figuring this thing out? Well, the great thing is this is the case. What we need are empathy enterprises and a technology of cooperation, and it's sitting right in front of us. It's called the Cooperative Enterprise. Now, what's a cooperative enterprise? A cooperative enterprise, now take a look at these words, because the words are important. They were chosen very carefully by an international group of people that really had been working at this for a long time. And it is an autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to meet their common economic, social, and cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. This is not a charity. This is not the government. This is not a corporation as we have known. This is a business whose business is to do all of that stuff. Now, I have the good fortune of traveling the world and working all across the United States and studying cooperative enterprises. And I'm going to tell you, they're pretty cool. Now, you might say, oh, wait, no, cooperative enterprise. He's got a ponytail. Wasn't this something that died out in the 1970s with the hippies? Well, you might be surprised at what you find in your neighborhoods that are cooperatively owned enterprises, and I bet you some of you in here are owners of them as well. Did you know that over 1 billion people on the planet are owners of cooperatives? Did you know that in the United States alone, according to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, there are 29,000 cooperatively owned businesses, accounting for nearly $750 billion in economic activity, with 2 million people as employees. Now, all of these have been quite successful. We say, okay, well, that's the past. They've been successful in the past. Is the cooperative enterprise, is this a technology that can actually help us solve the problems of tomorrow and seize those opportunities? Well, let's put it to the test. Let's see what people are trying out. In Spain and in the United States and all around the world, people are putting the cooperative to the test. In North Carolina, the State Employees Credit Union has taken on Payday Lending. Now, Payday Lending is this modern-day loan sharking when people who need money between paychecks because they run out need just a short-term small loan. And many payday lenders charge hundreds of % interest to these people, taking advantage of them. This credit union has invited these people to join their organization as owners and offers them loans of up to $500 at less than 10% interest and requires and helps them to save money for the first time in their lives. Can you imagine empathetically and cooperatively disrupting the exploitive financial practices of payday lending? In Spain and several other countries around the world, prostitutes have taken their hard-earned dollars and invested it in businesses, cooperatively owned businesses, that protect them from the pimps and provide them with medical care for the first time ever and provide a future for their children. Can you imagine a time when we empathetically and cooperatively disrupt the ravages of human trafficking and sexual slavery? In coffee-growing countries, Equal Exchange, a cooperative, has been addressing the fair trade issues and pioneering this idea for years. And they have worked with coffee growers who have been traditionally the ones who got the short end of the stick in the global supply chain. People at the end of the supply chain took all the profits. And they've helped them build farmer-owned cooperatives, which ensures that the farmers receive a fair day's wage for a hard day's work. Can you imagine a time when we empathetically and cooperatively disrupt the injustices in global supply chains? Veterinarians all around the country have been struggling because of big box competition. The big boxes have been putting veterinarians right inside the big box. And the independently owned veterinarian office, all of us know these, don't have the purchasing power to fight against them. And so the veterinarian cooperative has joined veterinarians together from all over the country to pool their purchasing power in order to be able to have these small businesses stay in our community. Can you imagine a time when we empathetically and cooperatively disrupt the loss of our small businesses in our communities? In Cleveland, Ohio, a city hit the hardest in 2009 of any of the cities in the United States. The Evergreen Cooperatives have band together. The workers have created multiple businesses and opportunities for themselves out of nothing. And they have created commercial laundries and businesses that install solar panels and created opportunities where once there was none. Can you imagine a time when we empathetically and cooperatively disrupt the cycle of poverty and limited opportunity in our urban areas? And right here in Bellingham, Washington, Community Food Co-op, a community-owned grocery store, has been fighting the frosted fraud of industrial food since the 1970s. They were doing local and organic food way before local and organic was cool. And way before it was just padding the profit at the end of the income statement. Can you imagine a time when we cooperatively and empathetically disrupt the health problems caused by the industrial food system? Cooperative enterprises are a technology whose time has come. They have been over here working to change the world, and no one even knows it's happening. It's time to bring them mainstream and to use this technology to address these challenges we have in our future, but not only just the challenges, but the opportunities that we have in our future. So where does that leave us? We have an opportunity, we have challenges in front of us. We have to ask ourselves, are we going to feed forward a paradigm that makes people put their fists up, or are we going to say, no, we're going to go for something better. We're going to go for empathy. We're going to go for the idea that we're going to cooperate rather than just simply worship at the altar of competition. We're going to say we instead of me or them. And what's our challenge? Our challenge is always the same. We need to take action, we need to reimagine wealth, and we need to change the world. Thanks.